Jay here for Stretford, Paddock. That's Dave Scott. And this is Paddock Live, giving you all the latest Manchester United news. We're going to be talking about transfer news, also some takeover news. But first of all, we'll talk about the most important thing, your book.
Oh, thank you very much. Yes, thank you. Yeah,
yes, Mancunians, get out there. And don't mean Mancunians get out there and buy it. The book's called Mancunians. Anyone can buy it. Well done. Sales, reviews, everyone's loving it.
Yeah, sold out on Amazon on the first day. So you had to bang a reprint out. But yeah, you can pre-order again. We're out by next week, I think. But yeah, thanks everyone who's been buying it, and please do. He's in it. Howson's in it.
Don't let that put you off, though.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. I mean, you can slag Howson's cover off all you want. Buy the book.
Yeah, well done, brother. We're going to talk a little bit about this, then we'll move on to more important things. Arsenal literally just finished at the Etihad. 4-1 win for Manchester City. Is that the least surprising title 6-pointer ever?
Yes,
or,
I think so. I don't even think Arsenal fans will be completely surprised that they folded tonight. I think many of them thought it was over a couple of weeks ago and it was always coming to this point. I think when if they were going to go into this game and there was nothing riding on it and they could take a loss, then maybe, you know, it wouldn't be so bad. But the points that they've lost going into this game, I think it was always coming to this thing. And like I was saying before we started the show, I think this is the best chance that Arsenal will get for a long, long time to win the league ever. And I reckon Arteta will be out of job within 3 years because a lot of them, you know what Arsenal fans are like? And the next season, you've got to look at the likes of Chelsea have got to improve because Frank Lampard yet again.
Hilarious how he's been.
Yeah. You know, Spurs are definitely going to be better. Liverpool are going to be better. You've got to hope Manchester United get a new striker in. We're going to talk about that in a bit. We're going to get better. So Arsenal aren't going to get this opportunity again. And just to quote the former Manchester United boss about Arsenal, they were specialists in failure. And that's the thing that they're consistent at, failing.
They are, and I agree with everything you've just said. I felt like this, and we've said it a few times on this channel, this was their Leicester season. This was the season when they could do it. And they're not going to do it. And I take no comfort in I'd much rather Arsenal personally than Manchester City, especially when we know City could win the treble, but they're not going to because they've got to face Eric Ten Hag in the FA Cup finals. Don't worry about that. So Arsenal, I mean, it's weird, isn't it? Because they had this great run. Like, was it 72 points after however many 29 games, which was like a record equaling, or you know, no team's ever got that amount of points and not won the league. But then this is Arsenal. Like, you're staying specialists in failure, and they've just done almost what you'd expect them to do.
Yeah, and they are a young team, and you've got to give them some sort of credit whether they're going to blow out of steam and, like, you know, towards when after Christmas, when they had that decent gap and they started dropping points, that's when you need more mature players in your team to sort of, you know, pick them up and then, you know, getting them through the tough games. But a lot of naivety was coming in, mistakes. And Arteta as a manager is still in his infancy, don't forget. But I don't think, you know, last year, was it Arsenal fans? I know Piers Morgan in particular was asking for Arteta out. Yeah. And they don't really seem to give managers much time, do they, down there?
Well, you're right, because he finished, was it 6th last season, 8th the season before. I know the season before that, I think they won the FA Cup, so that bought him a bit of time. But yeah, I remember looking at Arteta when he was on the touchline, running up and down the touchline, going berserk. And that wasn't, for me, a manager who sort of exuded confidence in, you know, like, gave the right order. Yeah, if I'm a player, I'm looking at it going, what's the gaffer doing there? Like, it wasn't like, sometimes a manager can lose his, you know, get angry or whatever. We've seen Pep do it, we've seen Fergie do it. There's nothing wrong with that. But when he's running up and down acting like a lunatic in the middle of a season, you think, what's going on? And I also felt with Arsenal, there was this, such the Newcastle's about. Newcastle like doing this, don't they? Taking photos after the game like you've won something. Like, get on with the job, as Roy Keane would say. You've not won out yet. Take all your pictures and celebrate at the end. I mean, there's nothing wrong with celebrating a win, but it seems like you're going on like you've already done it. When you haven't. And now, unfortunately for us, we know what Manchester City are made of this season. And if we're being honest, I didn't think when Pep Guardiola sold Arsenal, Zinchenko and Jesus, he'd sold them 2 of his better players. And Erling Haaland got to say, that was the day the title race ended, wasn't it?
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, and I think he's probably even exceeded Pep Guardiola's expectations into the, was it 49 goals now he's got this season in all competitions, and, you know, you can't take it away from him, absolute formidable striker. Just want to get your take on, you mentioned Newcastle there.
Yes.
If Arsenal do throw away this league, as it looks like, where does this collapse gauge against Arsenal's collapse in Newcastle's collapse in '96? Because that was 10 points lead they had, didn't they?
I think was it 10 or 12? Yeah.
The famous Keegan.
12, yeah. I thought it was. It's 12. It's up there because obviously there's a 12-point lead. United haven't really got going that season, and then obviously we had that big win at St James's where Eric Cantona scored the winner. I feel like with that then, I remember it well, and everyone was sort of rooting for Newcastle because it was going to stop United again and all this sort of stuff. But social media wasn't a big thing then. So you didn't have like you've had on Twitter and everything then. It was more in the papers, and obviously I was at school and living in Manchester. So you saw it on Sky and in the papers, but it wasn't like this now where everyone was big in Arsenal, everyone's going on, they're going to stop City, they're going to do that. So it feels like this is worse. But actually, the 12-point lead was probably worse, because I don't think Arsenal have ever been 12 points ahead of City.
No. But the thing is, like you said, we didn't have Geordie TV back then, but we've definitely got Arsenal
fan
TV now.
But don't be checking out AFTV when it goes up. Listen, there's loads of stuff to get through. By the way, there's a link to Scotty's book in the chat. I'm not going to dwell on Arsenal. We're going to talk about him a little bit more when it comes to Adam McCullough and Last Man Standing. And then we're going to talk about the big news that a lot of United fans will notice. This breaking story about Sir Jim Ratcliffe potentially offering the Glazers a lifeline. So we'll get into that in a minute, my brother. First of all, though, we're going to talk about, Adam McCullough, who's been chatting to some rival fans for Bet Victor's Last Fan Standing. Here's what Macca had to say.
And then you look at Zinchenko. You know, I have to say, you know, great going forward, but defensively, you know, what was the bet? You know, you're 2-1 down, you know, against Southampton, and you defend a corner like that.
Stevie Z over there. What was he doing on the pitch, the idiot?
Stevie Z.
Absolute Stevie Z. Didn't he? What's he doing? Even Odegaard was looking at him.
Yeah, I know. Listen, Adam, it worked. It worked to a certain degree, but I didn't quite like that neither. It's just, you know.
For those that haven't seen, what we're talking about is this after conceding
we conceded the second goal, and then he got everybody around and all that, like, you know. And look, listen, it worked because we got back into the game a couple of minutes later, but. I don't know about you guys. It looks a bit like desperation and all that. Like, you know,
he got. It was him who was out of position for the Walcott goal, right? And then 2 minutes later, they're conceding. He's telling everyone, "Come on, lads, let's
focus on your own game." Man. Yeah.
What you do? What you doing? Like, and I even saw the Arsenal players kind of look at him a bit like. Why is it? This is so performative.
It's reminiscent of the Gerrard "we don't let this slip" moment. I've always thought it's like this Liverpool side. I think it's Liverpool side. It's a bit like the Pellegrini.
Let's make it stick.
Man City win of the Premier League title. I think Brendan Rodgers is Liverpool with Suarez, Sterling, Sturridge up front. They were probably the better side in that league. They were the younger side, hungrier, played great football, but they didn't win the league. There's a big difference between being the best side in the league and winning the Premier League title.
So that was Adam McCullough and some other fans as well. Boovy was on there, I think Lee Gunner and a couple of others, talking about Arsenal, the title race, and also what went on with Zinchenko the other night against Southampton when he called in the players for a huddle. Yeah, and I think it was Boovy who mentioned it there. It was similar to Steven Gerrard, you know, this does not effing slip and all this nonsense that came back to bite him. And I felt like the Zinchenko one came back to bite him because he did that huddle. And then he went and was at fault for the third goal when he didn't pick up his man at the back post. What did you make of that, Scotty, when you saw it, of a player, not the captain, getting his teammates together 20 minutes in when they were 2-0 down, going, come on, let's have a little bit of a powwow? Were you for it, against it?
I'm for it. I think you know, you need to bring your players around you and get like morale up, especially with the performance that you're doing. So I'm all for it. I always have certain sympathy, obviously, like with Steven Gerrard. You know, you got the microphones, and you could pick everything up and stuff like. You don't really want that. Because the Steven Gerrard one's just absolutely timeless, isn't it?
I know what you mean, but I think he loved a bit of that. I think he thought, we've done it now. I can, you know what I mean? Like, this is the big.
That's
Stevie
what I mean. He comes back and bites you in the ass.
I mean, that was just poetic. The one issue I had with Zinchenko is I felt like it was a bit, sort your own game out first, son. Do you know what I mean? Like, if Odegaard had done it, I'd have gone, all right, you're the skipper, you're the best player on the pitch, you've been amazing for all season. Credit you. With Zinchenko, who was at fault at the Liverpool game, wasn't having a great game that night, and then went on to have a worse one. For him to do it, I'd have been a bit like, if I was in the Arsenal team, who's this guy? Do you know what I mean?
Maybe, that's one way of looking at it, but is there another way, like, he could have gone hiding in the changing rooms and sat in the corner?
No, I mean, listen, he stepped up. I just wish he'd have, because I preferred Arsenal to win. I wish he'd have stepped up with his performances. Of course. Ended up costing him points, but it was a good point. Go and check it out, Last Man Standing with Bet Victor. Say that Stretford Paddock sent you. There's a link in the description. Whether you agree with him, do you agree? Do you think Zinchenko was right? Are you into all that, the whole huddle thing? Because it's a little bit of a thing now, isn't it? I don't remember much of it when we were...
No, not at all.
It wasn't a thing. I don't remember Roy Keane. I mean, you might have. I don't remember Roy Keane or Brian Robson getting everyone together.
Shout amongst the chain from the seats.
And it's like, now it's like, let's all get in a huddle and have a discussion. Listen, do you remember Phil Brown on the pitch at the Etihad?
Yes.
When he gave them all a rollicking, right, when they were 4-0 down. And then was it Jimmy Bullard recreated, didn't it? That was funny, that. Anyway, I digress. Let's get into the main story here. Sir Jim Ratcliffe, right, who a few years ago, 18 months, a year ago, was like our saviour, according to a lot of United fans. He was the one heavily linked with buying the club from the Glazers. Britain's richest man, everyone wanted him. Everyone was like, Glazers out, Ratcliffe in. I remember doing a live here when he did a little bit of a Q&A for Ineos. Everyone was in the comments, we need this guy to take over at Manchester United. Grew up in Manchester, lifelong Red, got money, was going to sort everything out. How times have changed. There's a story doing the rounds here, I'll read this out for you. Glazers lifeline. Sir Jim Ratcliffe bid for Manchester United, could see the Glazers keep a stake in the club. Sir Jim Ratcliffe is offering a deal for United that would enable Joel and Avram Glazer to remain stakeholders in the club in what would be a highly controversial act likely to infuriate large sections of United support. One of the options on the table for the American owners would see Ratcliffe take a controlling stake of more than 50%, with the two Glazers retaining a combined 20%. That's from the Daily Mail and Mike Keegan. Now, before I get your take on this, Scotty, I just want to say one thing. Mike Keegan is very hit and miss with his stories. And I speak from experience. He used to be at the Evening News. He had some stories there which I know for a fact were just nonsense. But he has had some stories that are true. I wouldn't class Mike Keegan as tier one. Yeah. He's not a Laurie Whitwell or an Andy Mitton or a Henry Winter or someone like that. You go, okay, there's something, or an Ornstein. If Ornstein said this, I'd be golden. Yeah. With this, I'm a bit on the fence whether it's true. Let's just say it is. Let's just argue for the sake of arguing that it is. What's your reaction to this idea?
My reaction obviously isn't ideal because I think everybody would want the Glazers out of the club full stop, but there has been rumours that have been gathering pace since Christmas, and as the rounds of bids have carried on, it's becoming more and more possible that the Glazers don't want to leave and want to remain having a stake in Manchester United. So this won't be completely surprising. It is annoying because like people are saying Sir Jim Ratcliffe is a United fan, and I know there's a lot of momentum behind that for more sentimental reasons, and I don't think from financial reasons as a football fan, and purely for a football fan for what's the best for Manchester United. He hasn't got endless cash like Qatar who also went in for the bidding, but I mean we just want the Glazers gone at the end of the day. So it just seems a little bit. I don't think it's going to go down too well if this is the case. On the flip side, if this is the only option and the Glazers do want to remain a stake, maybe the Qataris aren't interested in that, and maybe we can only have this option because nobody else at the table. Yeah,
this is it, and it's either Qatari full takeover, which from what I gather would be the offer if they meet the demands of the Glazers, or this. I mean, the trouble you've got with this is I still think this is, as this says, will infuriate a lot of fans. We'll get into some of the comments and then we'll get back to you. And don't forget to hit that like button. If you want the Glazers out, hit the like button. Also on that front as well, there's a protest planned for April the 30th, the day of the Aston Villa game. Now, I've been mentioning this on all my videos, I've been tweeting about it. It's been, the 1958 are organising it. If you go over to their socials, you get the full lowdown. But basically, it's going to start in Deansgate in the city centre at 11 o'clock. And then there's going to be a protest at the game. And I think the idea is get down to Old Trafford, and then anyone who's going in the game, I think he's going to wait 18 minutes as a sort of protest to show the ground empty for the first 18 minutes. And this is all geared towards a full sale from the Glazers, no minority sale, a full sale. So go and check out 1958. And if you can get down there and support the protest, do. And if you can't, there's ways and means by which you can get involved, posting on socials, sort of voicing your anger or your feelings towards the Glazers. There's loads of ways. You don't have to be just a match-going fan to make a difference here. So by all means, go and check that out. There's loads of people in the comments, so we'll get into it straight away. Ross Murphy says, #Glazers out. Brian Casey, so much for him being a lifelong United fan. This is his master plan for his takeover. Witterbird says, wasn't Ratcliffe just looking for legacy? Ryan Bullock says, worries me about the financial input we'll get if Ratcliffe takes over. Could be in bed with the Glazers. This is what this seems to say. Abhinav Verma says, Casemiro was cheated by refs. That seems like a bit of a non sequitur, but yeah, I did a tweet as well mentioning that. I think when he got sent off against Palace for gripping up Will Hughes, Jack Grealish did something tonight. It's very similar to Thomas Partey, and he got a yellow, which is right. He shouldn't have got sent off. I'm not saying he should have, but neither should Casemiro. Someone said Joel Bayer is crying like a baby. He'll be. I think in even he knew. I know he's had a lot of bravado, but I think in even he came in
on the watch along the other day, Joel, at half time, and I was saying to him, if you don't win anything and finish second, do you really think that you've had a better season than United? And he was adamant, saying, yeah, it's still a good season, but you're winning a spoon. I'll
ask you a question. My good friend, a spoon, yeah. Do you consider Ollie's final full season a success?
Ollie's final season a success? No.
We finished second, didn't we?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's
Yeah,
not.
not at all.
When Jose finished 19 points behind City, we were all going, "This has been an amazing season."
No.
We weren't. So
we have higher standards as Manchester United fans.
We do, don't we?
Arsenal, they used to celebrate fourth for a long time. So imagine second. That's like going into space.
It is. Someone said here. I need to find it because I can't find who said it. Sorry about this because it was a really good point, and I can't say who's put it. But someone said about Sir Jim Ratcliffe saying that he couldn't make the trip to London when he's a United fan. That was it. Sim says billionaire can't get to Old Trafford from London, because he said when he used to go and watch Chelsea, it's because I'm a United fan, but I used to go and watch Chelsea because I lived in London. Bro, I was a student and I used to get on a megabus.
I know the trains are bad.
Yeah, I used to get on a megabus to go to Old Trafford like every now and again when I was living in London. So a billionaire not being able to get to Old Trafford, I doubt it. Listen, I'm a bit wary of just piling in on Sir Jim Ratcliffe. All shades of steam. I think the main thing for me is we want the Glazers gone. My issue is if this is true, this isn't the Glazers gone, it's them sticking around. So that's not what we want. And I've said this before, we can have an argument about the next owner once the next owner's in place. And believe me, any new owner of Manchester United or any owner of Manchester United should be scrutinised and we can argue about that. For me, the main thing now is getting the Glazers gone. Fully gone, not this. So this is true. I think Sir Jim Ratcliffe has dropped a clanger here because this isn't what we want.
Do you not think, though? I mean, if you go back to like 2002, 2003, when the Glazers bought shares from the likes of JP, Magna and McManus,
I know where you're
right?
going.
That's the thing. So the Glazers initially bought only a 5% stake, didn't they? And then they increased it when the two people who owned the Rock of Gibraltar horse that fell out with Ferguson, and then bought their share. So bit by bit is the way that they ended up buying the club, didn't they? Because I think they got to like 49% and they had to make a move. I think that's correct, something along them lines. So there could be some thought process there. If he's a large stakeholder, the opportunity might not be on the table now, but then year on year you push them out.
That's a good point. If that is the case, he's got to sell that. He's got to sell that to the fans because there'll be a lot of outrage here.
How do you do that, though?
I know, because it's catch-22, isn't it? If you're going, well, this is my long-term plan to buy the Glazers, and the Glazers are going, hang on a minute, you never said that to us. It's very difficult. It's a difficult one. Witterbird says you can finish second and win manager of the season, but get 1,000 likes, I'd make some memberships. She's got history, this Witterbird. She's a big supporter of the channel, Vic. We appreciate that. So, hit that like button, and there could be some memberships on the go. If you've got a membership, you get to see my vlog from Wembley.
Really?
Yeah. I got a few comments, though, people are asking me, for the penalties, like I didn't film the penalties.
Wait, did you have the crowd?
Yeah, I did. I was like, someone messaged me and on Instagram and he went, Jay, I always thought it was a myth that you didn't watch the penalties, and I've just seen you at Wembley facing the other way. Like obviously the crowd's facing that, and I'm watching the crowd because I don't watch penalties. Any time I've done it, I've jinxed it, and I know that's probably not true, but in my head it is. So I was just facing the crowd and gauging the reactions. So unless 10,000 fans decided to play a prank on me, I got to see what was happening.
What were you like? You've got kids.
Yes.
So were you there for the births? Were you looking the other way then?
No, my missus said to me, and I actually don't mind saying this because there's only 1,700 people watching. We'll keep it between us.
Laura.
Yeah. Sorry. She said, stay away from the business end. Stay near my head.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was music to my ears. Yeah. More than happy to do that. And do you know what I mean? Like, I was just holding her hand, looking at her face. Do you know what I mean? Love you. Great. You're doing a great job.
Imagine you in the corner with the doctors with your head to the back.
Yeah. Well,
can't watch.
I got in trouble because when we went to the hospital, I fell asleep for a bit. I watched the film.
You fell asleep?
Yeah. Not during the birth, by the way, just when we got there. But I did wake up in time for the birth of the children. So that's
lad.
Joint effort, innit? Do you know what I mean?
So,
You've been there, you know what it's like. Right. We'll get some comments here. Alex Buckingham says, Arsenal and Chelsea failing, it's just beautiful. What is the point in the Frank Lampard now? What even is Frank Lampard? Like, he literally loses every game. It's not even. I've not even done my Cockney thing yet. It's just embarrassing, isn't it? It's just. I feel like it's like kicking a puppy now.
Really?
Do you know what I mean?
Are you punching down now? Is that where it is?
It's just the guy's just awful, and he's a manager.
I mean,
he couldn't be any worse.
No, I mean, it just feels very Bowler. Is that the name of the?
Yeah, Todd Bowler.
Yeah, Todd Bowler. I mean, the rule is you never go back to your ex. You know, especially after it failed in that sort of, disaster. And then he went to Everton and failed again.
Yeah. It's mad, isn't it? Because his biggest success was getting Derby into the playoffs by, I think, winning 1 point more or less, I can't remember, than they had the previous season.
Yeah.
So it's like, that wasn't really a success. It was more the status quo. Got the Chelsea job, obviously, off the back of that and the fact he's a Chelsea legend. Didn't really do anything there. And then got sacked. Went to Everton. and then got sacked. Went back to Chelsea and has lost 5 of his 5 games.
What, is there 8 games left now?
Yeah.
Can you possibly see what would be one of those hilarious things in football if he got sacked again before?
I don't know what they're going to do.
Because they had the interim manager at Spurs who's just
got sacked, didn't they? Sacking your interim.
Yeah.
How has that become a thing?
Yeah.
Like getting rid of the interim. Who do you think would be the interim before? It looks like Poch is going to come in the summer. Who would you think would go back there as the interim now, or become the interim?
I'm not too sure. I was going to say the interim between Frank and the next one. Frank goes with John Terry. Imagine that, and he gets a load of L's.
Yeah, I think imagine that. Imagine being a black player in that dressing room and John Terry rocks up as your manager, you'd be gutted. Abidab Verma says, Jay at the minute didn't have enough cash, I guess. Yeah, that's true. Danny says, Sir Jim Rats, capitalised, Cliff. Yeah. Jimmy, what are you doing, kid? No one really cares that much if you're from Failsworth. If you're going to keep the Glazers on, you need to fix up. But we'll see what happens. Right, what have we got next on the agenda? Bruno Fernandes injury update. Right, Bruno Fernandes apparently has never missed a game for injury. He's had an injury, I think for 10 days, but there wasn't any games at the time, so he didn't miss one. He's been ill. He's had illness. We've got some stats here. He's played 176 times for United in 3 years. 15 appearances ahead of Antonio Valencia, who's at the club for 10 years, which is ridiculous. And I don't even think Valencia was injury prone. Only missed 1 game in his career through injury or an illness, and that was flu in 2016 with Sampdoria. And when you sort of juxtapose that with someone like Pogba, who I thought Pogba was a great player, missed about a quarter of the game since he was at United, through injury. In a similar position, playing in a similar position to Bruno Fernandes. It's a ridiculously good record of appearances, that, isn't it?
Yeah, and this isn't a player who stands still on the pitch either.
No.
Do you know what I mean? He's
so
everywhere.
Weird.
And the fact that he's been playing a lot of different positions this season as well, hasn't he? So he's been playing really deep, up front, running around. So you'd have thought sometime it's going to sort of, different niggles on muscles and stuff. But yeah, it's a phenomenal record. Are you worried then that this might be he's good tomorrow night?
I am concerned because we miss him, don't we? Sevilla proved that. Yeah. Some people, Bruno, he's over at shut up. He's not, he's mint. And we saw when he doesn't play just what happens and how reliant on him we are. And we need him for this game. It's a big game against Spurs. I think if we win tomorrow, I think we've got top 4 in the bag.
I think we've got top 4 already.
Right, I like that because you're usually quite cynical or realistic, shall we say. So yeah, we do need him. Hopefully it won't come to that. I know he was wearing this sort of medical boot one. He's not got it on anymore. And hopefully we can get him back in that team and play him because it'd be a massive loss. And it'd be just Eric Ten Hag's luck, wouldn't it? He's already lost both his centre-backs. And the one player who's never been injured in, 8 years, whatever it is, 7 years, gets injured for one of the biggest games of the season. What's this rubbish I'm hearing as well about Garnacho might not play in the FA Cup final because he's got away for the World Cup under-20s tournament.
I've not heard that one.
I don't know how true this is. I know it's the sort of rumours doing the rounds that Garnacho, if he gets called up, but he's going to get called up to the Argentina squad for the World Cup under-20s, means he'll miss the FA Cup final.
Ferguson would never have that.
Honestly,
I'm not getting on that flight. Maybe Fernandes just couldn't be asked doing the shopping that day.
Oh, yeah.
I just said to his miss, I can't. Eric said, I've got the boot.
Got the back.
Accelerator with this.
No. Because do you remember when he went shopping at Tesco?
Yeah, and there's a big deal about that.
Why?
Player buys blue roll.
Yeah. What was going on there? Like, it was literally him with a trolley full of shopping. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't get where the story was. Really bizarre, but yeah, he might not be available. But as always, we'll keep you posted on that. The watch along tomorrow, it's like an old school Red Devils, full-time Devils, even Red Devils reunion. You've got Adam McCullough and Gaz Drinkwater, and you've also got Ronaldo Brown for that. So make sure you're checking that out. In fact, get involved and let us know what you think. Andy Stewart says, Jay, right, we need to win tomorrow. YouTube says Jose looks ill as F, but was still there managing. Yeah, talking about maybe Jose Mourinho might end up going back to Chelsea at this rate. Who knows? Abhinav Verma says the protective boots is a good excuse to be lazy round the house. Ethan Tong says, get Sam back on. Yes, I'm Homewood. Jacob Beck says, can we get Premier League piss take and better than Arteta back this week? That's not a bad shout. Joe's away, but Mac is back in. So we'll see if we can do that. We'll see if we can get them both together. Tell you what, if Arteta loses at the weekend, we'll get them back next week for it. Right, what have we got next on the agenda? Osimhen prefers switch. Here we go. Osimhen wants Premier League move. Napoli striker Victor Osimhen would prefer a move to the Premier League this summer. I like the way prefers in very common, like prefer. Right, okay. Osimhen is eyeing up a Premier League move, boosting United's chances of signing the striker. The Nigerian centre-forward is on United's list of targets ahead of the summer transfer window and is a popular choice among the fans. However, he has recently been linked with the likes of German champions Bayern Munich and French giants Paris Saint-Germain. Nevertheless, it is claimed that he would favour a move to England instead. Osimhen has scored 26 goals in 32 appearances this season, and that's from Foot Mercato.
Big reader of Foot Mercato?
They love an headline, don't they? That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
According to them the other day, Neymar was on his way to Old Trafford, so you might want to...
Well, I mean, but if we are to believe this story and that story, if Osimhen is going to Paris Saint-Germain, Neymar may need a new club. And it could be Old Trafford.
It could be this little merry-go-round.
But
yeah.
I mean, I'm not too convinced. It sounds like agents trying to, tout his player on the continent. Napoli have obviously just gone out of the Champions League. I think if Napoli win and Lazio drop points at the weekend, then Napoli have won Serie A. So he's obviously starting with one eye on the future. I'd love him at United. I'm not too sure what the cost would be. And you think when you're bringing players from some leagues, into the Premier League, it's kind of a better experience. But you look at Haaland and straight away, he's hit the ground running. Me personally, I'd blow the money on Harry Kane, and I know people say he's too old, blah, 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 but he knows how to play in the Premier League, and I think that's the striker that we're missing. I don't think, if we want to catch City next season, then we need someone who's going to come into Old Trafford, that number 9 spot, and start banging goals in from day one, not taking 3 to 6 months to settle in.
Do you know what? I'm sick of everyone on this channel disagreeing with me about Victor Osimhen and Harry Kane. Joe did it. We had a debate. You've done it. You better be one of my best mates. And Rio Ferdinand did it. So I'm on my own preferring Victor Osimhen. But I would have Harry Kane, and I've said it myself on it. I agree with you. I think if Harry Kane comes in, I think we can win a title with him. I'm just thinking a bit more long-term with old Victor. But I'd take either of them. Witterbird has said, OK, 500 likes. I will buy some for you guys to watch Jay at Wimbledon. I don't know if that's the deal, but much appreciated, Vic. Yeah, hit that like button, man. We've got 2,000 people watching. We've not even got to 500 likes. Let's get to 500 likes and see if we can aim a little bit higher. Martin P says he's going to go and watch Arsenal having an implosion on one of their YouTube channels later. Yeah, it just gets a bit boring, all that, doesn't it? Yeah. Stick around for that. Stick here for this, sorry. Abhinav Verma says, I'm with you, Jay. Alvin Nerju says, Sir Jim is greedy, just like the Glazers. He's losing the room with this one, Sir Jim. Right. Kane, seen as you and everyone else wants Harry Kane. We've got an Harry Kane story. 80 million Kane deal, right? Can I just stop you there? Yeah, done. Get it. Do it. Yeah? 80 million, sold. Yes. You know what I want? Yeah, if I'm there now, I'm like, yeah, done. Yeah. And Levy's going, well, wait a minute, what do you mean? No, we'll take that. Man United won't be held to ransom by Spurs over 80 million Harry Kane, who knows he must go. United bosses know Spurs chairman Daniel Levy is renowned for driving a hard bargain when it comes to selling his biggest names. United CEO Richard Arnold is preparing to open talks with the London club over a potential £80 million deal for Kane. United fear Levy will look to drag out negotiations over the coming months and are prepared to look elsewhere in their bid to land a top-class even number 9. But if the situation looks like becoming a saga, United are expected to turn to Victor Osimhen. So you've made your feelings clear here.
Yep.
Harry Kane for you. Harry Kane for 80 million, if that is the case, is a no-brainer for me.
No.
Like, do it. And I was chatting to, we had Tottenham TV yesterday as part of a preview we did with those guys in conjunction with BT. And they were sort of saying, because I've always thought, if we do get Kane, I think he's got at least 2 more seasons in him. They said potentially more. Looks after himself.
Don't rely on his pace.
Don't rely on his pace. You've seen the likes of Lewandowski, Zlatan plays like that, even Ronaldo playing at top level at 34.
Yeah.
Cavani at 34 was mint. It was the season after where he lost his way a little bit, and I think some of that might have been sulking. So there's no reason why Harry Kane can't give you 3, 4, maybe even 5 years. Yeah. I know that's a stretch, but it's not beyond the realms of possibility. And the one thing that I do take comfort with when it comes to Harry Kane's record, if we were to get him, is his injury record recently. He's almost Bruno Fernandes. I
was going to say the same thing, very, very similar. My worry with the Harry Kane potential move, and especially dealing with Daniel Levy, is that if it does become a saga, because if you look at how long United chased De Jong around the continent during the summer, if we focus on getting Harry Kane and it gets to a week before the Premier League and he still has United over a barrel and wants 80, 100 million and United aren't willing to negotiate, we might have risked our chance of missing Osimhen. Do you know what I mean? And United, when City signed Haaland, it was a done deal early.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of clubs, Chelsea, a lot of clubs seem to get their work done early, whereas United seem to drag stuff out. So why are you not starting? This shouldn't be a conversation now. A deal should be already made behind closed doors.
100%. If we are going to go for him, and I mean, I think maybe there's a scenario where Spurs are saying, look, in the summer we get a new manager in, because when I was chatting to the lads, to the Spurs fans, they were saying Conte coming in got Harry Kane to stay. That was the big play there by Levy. And Conte spoke with Harry Kane. Antonio Conte, a winning manager, is like, look, we're going to do things here. Stay with this club. We're going places. I'm not coming here just to make up the numbers.
Yeah.
And Harry Kane bought into that. What could happen though before the end of the season, as you point out, Spurs might drop out of this top four when they've just not got Champions League football. He's going to be 30 by the start of the next season. Does he want to spend his the autumn of his career not playing in the Champions League? Comes to United, he stays in the Premier League, so he can still get that Premier League record, beat Alan Shearer, which is probably something that he wants to do. And under Erik ten Hag, as we've shown, you can win things. We're in 2 finals and we've won one of them. We're not that far off a title race, a challenge. We're not there, obviously.
But with him in it's an easier sell to Harry Kane to come to Manchester United and have a better future than it is trying to convince him to stay at Tottenham for what has been a merry-go of managers. Because how many false dawns has it been spanned?
No,
do you know what I mean? How since Poch, Jose, the lad from Wolves, Conte, there's a lot of managers that he's been spanned the same dreams, and it isn't there. That Tottenham team needs an overhaul, and I think we could help them out. We'll give him 80 mil. We'll give him Harry Maguire.
Yeah, okay.
We'll give him Anthony Martial.
Okay.
Anybody else thrown in there?
Maybe one of the right backs.
Preference?
Oh, you catch me on ask me a different question. You get a different answer. Ask me on another day, so you get another answer. I'm edging towards Aaron Wan-Bissaka to stay, but I do like Dalot.
I like Dalot, but I think Wan-Bissaka, especially post-Christmas after the World Cup, I thought his card was numbered. I thought he was out the door.
They've gone the other ways, haven't they? Dalot before Christmas, before the World Cup was flying, and he's come back a little bit off the pace at times, whereas Aaron Wan-Bissaka seems to just kicked up again. So yeah, maybe there is, maybe we can. And the funny thing is, all those players you've mentioned, I think they get in Spurs' team. If Martial stays fit,
I'd get in Spurs team.
Yeah, that's true. But even Maguire, I think there's a chance he gets in there over Eric Dyer. Whitterbird says Erik ten Hag does seem to find players. Why are United so keen to buy Kane? Erik ten Hag's been doing all the scouting and everything, it seems himself. But amongst all that though, there was Casemiro, wasn't there? And you felt like whilst ten Hag wanted Malacia and Eriksen, Martinez and Anthony, that they were his. You felt like Casemiro was one where the club had maybe gone, look, we can get this guy. And Erik ten Hag's like, yeah, get him, it's Casemiro. Maybe there's an element with Kane. You go, you want a number 9? We'll get you one who scores 20 odd goals every season in the Premier League. He's on 24 goals this season, and Spurs haven't even been that good.
No.
Hit that like button, people. We've got 400 likes. We'll get to 500 likes. Keep going. Come on, people. We can do this. I'm going to get into some of the comments. Amino Rashid YYYP says, I am worried that Sir Jim with Glazers is a worry. Martin P says, Kane 80 mil. Okay. Yep. Brian Casey says, what a strange week of videos on Paddock. We had the Brew on Monday, and now we have Scotty and Motty on Wednesday. Me and Steve did the Paddock podcast on Monday, and it was like the Brew 2.0. It was just, we ended up going down some rabbit holes. Right, Sav says, Jay, he's put this in capital, so I'm in trouble there. You selected 2 Spurs centre-backs in your combined United Spurs 11. Criminal. Do you know why, right? We're doing this thing with BT, and he said, right, do a video with the guys from Spurs. We said, yeah, I hate combined 11s, right? I hate it. And we did it as like, who'd you pick in your starting 11? But it's the same fucking thing. So we did the goalkeeper, De Gea. Left back, Luke Shaw. Right back, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And I'm thinking ahead, the midfield's all United.
Yeah. So you've got to do them.
Like, so we played 4-3-3. And I'm like, with who we've got available, because I put Shaw left back, it's going to be Lindelof and Kane.
Yeah.
So I kind of threw him a bone a little bit where I didn't argue too vociferously over Ben Davis and who I can't remember the other one. I think it was Romero, was it? Over Maguire and Lindelof. I'd have been that way. I could have argued the toss. And then it was like, Eriksen, yeah, he's in. Casemiro, yeah, he's in. Bruno, yeah, he's in. Even up front, it was Kane, obviously, is 9. But then on the left-hand side, are you going to have Marcus Rashford or Heung-min Son, who's fallen off a bit of a cliff?
Yeah.
So it was getting a bit one-sided. So yeah, Witterbird makes a good question here. Can you see McTominay going?
Yes, I think so. I think midfield is somewhere else that we're looking to invest in this summer. I don't think it's a priority. Striker, and then I think maybe a goalkeeper that we're looking at, but we could do with strengthening in centre mid. Scott's 25 now.
Yeah, I think he is. Yeah.
And he loves the club. You know, United through and through, but he does come across as the sort of lad that's got ambition to sort of kick on and go somewhere else and maybe play more regular football. I think Sabitzer might end up staying, which might sort of put a dampener on his progression and trying to break through. McTominay has good games here and there for Manchester United. He's never ever going to be a starter if we are going to challenge for the title. If we're going to challenge for any serious trophies, I just can't see where he starts. And if I'm a professional footballer and I'm 25 coming to the peak of my career, you wouldn't blame him wanting to move somewhere else. And I think if these rumours are true about the Glazers and Ratcliffe becoming bed buddies, then we might need to sell in order to get money into the club. Scott McTominay may be one of the most valuable options that we've got to try and raise. But I think 50 million was being touted around.
Yeah, do you know what it is? Newcastle, when we wanted Longstaff, or we were Longstaff, and they said 50 million.
Dark days.
Yeah, do you remember?
Dark days.
So I think there's a bit of payback now. It's like, what you want McTominay, right? 50 million. If Longstaff's 50 million. McTominay's 50 million, you know, like we're 12 years old.
Yeah.
You did it to us, we're going to do it to you. Ethan is a Newcastle fan. Now they've started winning things or winning matches.
He was
they've
a
had a bit of
Sunderland
money. He
fan
used to
last
support the Middlesbrough thing, yeah, and then Gateshead. And then Sunderland, when that documentary come out. But then when all the money went into Newcastle, he started being a Newcastle fan. Would you have Scott McTominay, Ethan, producer Ethan?
For 50 mil, no.
For 50 mil, no, he says. What's the benchmark? What's the price?
10 mil?
Mate, he walks into that team. Who have you got in there? Eh? Longstaff, exactly. Yeah. I'd take McTominay over Longstaff. Hit that like button, people. We've almost got to 500 likes. Come on, I think Witterbird said she'll get you some memberships if you get to 500 likes. Let us know what in the comments as well. Who do you want to see go? You've already said Maguire. You've said Martial. We've said about McTominay and get a decent bit of money. You're right, especially if Sabitzer's staying. Just on the Martial front, does it concern you if Martial goes, Weghorst is going to go? Yes, we bring in a Kane, but do we need another striker as well?
Yes, we certainly do need another striker. And if we could, I'd probably keep Weghorst over Martial. I think Martial's had far more than enough chances now to break into that Manchester United, make that spot his consistently. And I think at the weekend against Brighton was probably his best opportunity to, big stage, show what he can do one last time. I just think his days are numbered at Old Trafford, and the sooner he leaves, it's probably the better for both parties. About Weghorst, he's a rubbish striker, but I thought when he came on Sunday, he was one of United's better players in terms of like how industrial he was around the pitch and doing something. Because a lot of them did look knackered, you know what I mean? And he's got that about him. I mean, and that when he ran he's become a cult hero, hasn't he, about Weghorst? He's not going to be a starter every week. Offer something different in cup games.
My mate, Woody, who stood next to the game, he said that he feels Weghorst has got one big goal in him.
I think he has.
Right. June the 3rd, 94th minute, last kick of the game, winner against City. Yeah? Build the man a statue.
Oh,
yeah?
God.
Hey, say that. Your boy did well when he came on as well, Fred, didn't
Fred, yeah.
Witterbird in the super chat says, which team member is going to make money on the sale? I mean, talking of players and like how many you can, sell and who you can get money for as well. There's not many, is there? Like, you've got McTominay, maybe get a bit from Martial.
Fred's 30, you're not going to get much for him.
Yeah, I don't think he's got that long left on his contract, so he's probably close to being a free transfer almost. Maybe you get a bit of money if Wan-Bissaka or Diogo's one of them, 15, 20 million. Brandon Williams, I like the kid, I don't think he's going to get any money. Elanga, no, he's not scored for over a year. I mean, it's a shame.
What about Henderson? Because he's only on loan at Forest. Would there be some sort of sizable cash with that? Because he's
part of the problem
going to be
with him?
Interesting. He's like basically burnt his whole house down and has to move back to
Yeah,
Manchester.
he's just been horrible, hasn't he? And I think that part of the problem is the club just won't rid of him. So you might just get rid of him. Whereas if you look at the quality he's got, he's not an amazing goalkeeper, he's a good one.
Yeah.
And I think he could do a job in the Premier League. I think he was doing well at Forest before he got injured. And obviously when he was at Sheffield United, he was our player of the year. Very similar to Aaron Ramsdale, isn't it?
Yeah.
When Sheffield United did well, bit erratic, very gobby, very full of confidence, but can do a job in goal. I wouldn't be surprised if Dean Henderson maybe. I think we've got a few players who can get you 15 mil around that mark. I don't think we've got many that can get more than that. We're almost at 500 likes, guys. Abhinav Verma says, why can't we get money for Maguire? Rest of the country likes him. So sell him for 40 to 50 million. BMW Racing 1974 says, we never do well in sales. That's true. John Hemingway says, come on, guys, like the vid. We've got to 500 likes there.
Nice
Superb.
one, man.
Big thanks to Vic and Whitterbird. Vic and Whitterbird for offering those memberships up as well. Ross Murphy says, whatever happens if Weghorst leaves, he has won more trophies than Harry Kane has. Imagine if Weghorst leaves as well, and if he wins the FA Cup, they've won more trophies than Alan Shearer. That's mint.
That's tremendous.
That's mint. Before we go, make sure you are checking out, get it right, Mancunians by my esteemed friend and colleague next to me. Interview with myself and Stephen Howson, but more importantly, lots of other great interviews in there. It's doing really well for a reason. It's an absolutely fantastic book, and I'm very, very proud of this man.
Cheers, man.
And thanks to Vic as well for gifting 5 Stretford Paddock memberships. If you've got a membership, you can go and check out some extra content. We've got on there my vlog from the FA Cup semi-final against Brighton and a couple of other bits on there as well. I'm going to have more content coming up. I'll be back in the morning with the news. Go and check out as well Adam McCullough and Last Man Standing with Bet Victor. He was chatting to Boovy and all them other lot about Zinchenko's little huddle. Arsenal have blown the league. We knew that anyway, really. So Jim Ratcliffe could be blowing his chances of taking over if he's offering the Glazers a minority stakes. We'll have to see what happens with that. And a big thanks to everyone who's showed support for the channel. Scotty, where can people find you?
And Waterstones Deansgate tomorrow night with you doing a Q&A. But yeah, just to echo what you said, it's been City aren't going to win the treble because there are 2 things that are stopping him: Karim Benzema and Veg Wouters.
Veg Wouters, I like it. Yeah. Hey, Veg Wouters, you heard
right?
it. Weghorst.
Weghorst? Veg Wouters? Whatever. You know what I meant. I'll catch you soon. I've been
You had me at Benzema, hey? You had me there, mate. You had me there in the palm of your hands. I was with you all the way. And then the conviction that you said it as well, I almost went with you. And I thought, that doesn't sound right. Veg Wouters. Anyway, you know what it means. If Weghorst doesn't score the winner, then Veg Wouters will. Someone's getting that winner for United. Please, God.
Oh, our outros get better.
Get that one in, didn't you? That's been Dave Scott. I've been Veg Wouters. This has been Paddock Live. Thanks for watching.